It says it's using full screen. Do I need to turn it this way? I don't know. All right, if somebody pops in, they got to tell us if we're live, not live, what we're doing. Swipe up. Okay. Orientation is located. Rotate device back. See? That's what I'm telling you. Okay, guys, we are trying this. See, there are people popping in. I don't know how I'm going to make this happen because it's a new phone, new system. And Danny's like, okay, I'm tired and I'm ready to go to bed, huh?
Let's just see.
Let's see if it works. I'll leave it alone. How's that?
You gotta turn your phone around.
A little bit. That is going to be... All right, can they see you? Just a little bit?
A little bit.
All right, they're seeing the ceiling.
Well, they see a whole lot out there. I mean, I can't read it that far off. It's all the way across the room from me.
Yeah, we're using a phone. We just got a phone today, and Danny could tell you a great story about that.
Wanda got a phone. Danny didn't get no phone. It took 3 hours to get a phone number.
So I can't read from across the room. And we were just testing the live because they said we could go live on it. It's supposed to work. And I have no clue what y'all are saying.
Yeah.
We're just, because we hadn't done a video much in the last week or two.
We have been so busy here with everything that I haven't had a chance to even make a video.
Yeah, we're kind of in the, let's see if we can get the ceiling off, but I'm not sure. Is that a little better? Maybe we're not at the ceiling. All right, I have no clue what y'all are saying. Said it's good to see you in comfortable chairs.
Yeah, after standing on my feet for 3 solid hours today in a phone service place, I was fit to be tied. As a matter of fact, we went to town to run a bunch of errands. And when we left the phone place, we just decided it wasn't worth it. I mean, we left the house at 8 o'clock this morning. And
we got there about 9.
We got there about 9. Well, we was there. We was almost one of the first ones in the building.
We didn't leave at 8. We left at 8:45. We got there
20 minutes till 9. We did. We left at 20 minutes till 9. We were the first ones in the building, with exception of one old man. And at 11:20, we left out of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like...
And it wasn't because of this company.
No, it has nothing to do with the company.
We went back to a company that we used. Danny and I both have used it for years and years and years. And 7 years ago, I traded to Verizon. And I've had nothing but trouble with phones, especially phone service.
Stay away from Verizon.
Well, it's according to where you live, I guess.
No, just stay away from them. Their customer service is horrible.
Customer service rough, too.
Yeah.
And I tried with Verizon for 7 years. I shouldn't have stayed that long, I guess. But when we went to C-Spire, our original company that both of us had used, the girls are friendly. Everything was going fine. Got the phone, paid for it. She's ready to transfer. So I want to keep my number because I've had this number 8-10 years. I don't know. I've had a long time.
Long time.
Everything's tied to my number. So I don't want to get rid of my number. And it looks like everything's fixing to transfer over. And they get an error code. Well, they call their backup service, and their backup service looks, and they said, it's not us, it's Verizon. So they get on the phone with Verizon. 6 people later, trying to find out where they can get, they ask for port service, and they keep sending one operator after another, back and forth and back and forth. 6 people before we finally get to somebody that works in port service, and she has to have somebody else do the work. And it was 30-45 minutes later.
Oh, an hour later. Even after we got into the port service, it's still another hour.
Yeah. They kept getting error codes and having issues. And one of the guys was typing in a number on his side that said that's what they wanted. And on the other side, it was saying, no, that's the wrong number. Miscommunication.
Yeah.
So finally we get a phone, and it is a Samsung 24 Ultra.
Yeah.
Think. So we're just trying it out. I don't know what the camera's like. I've been busy all afternoon. Danny's been busy. We ain't had time to even hardly look at it.
With the hard freeze coming tonight and tomorrow night, we had to make sure everything. I had to get the citrus trailer put into the shop, and you go around here and take care of all the water pipes around here. Make sure everything's taken care of.
And eat till it was 2:00 when we finished eating.
We ate dinner at 2:00 today. Yeah.
So it was rough. Not our
Still ain't ate supper.
Well, you did. I fixed you something.
I ate an egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told him I was going to do popcorn and hot chocolate, and we come in here and sit down and talk.
Yeah. She's like, we got to do a video. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So just do some brief something, and I thought throw some things out I've been looking at, and it's some things that I saw talked about before. It's things that 2 generations most people knew about that they don't know about now, and so
everything is lost in the 3rd generation.
Yeah.
The 1st generation knows, the 2nd generation knows about it,
but
the
don't pay attention.
But don't really pay attention. The 3rd generation knows nothing about it.
And, to give you an example, like my mom, she was raised on a cotton farm. She knew about cotton. She knew how the workings was. She actually worked in the field. Well, when I came along, I knew what cotton was. I really didn't know. I saw her working when I was a real little girl. She went and helped my grandmother one year, and I remember seeing them in the cotton field. I remember the wagons. I remember them loading them sacks, things like that. I do remember that. But past that, when everybody was out of it after that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about it. My kids and my grandkids, I don't know if they've ever even seen cotton.
Probably ain't never seen a plant.
Have no clue. But some of the things that I have listed down, one of them is gardening.
Yeah, used to gardening from the beginning of time up until here recently, gardening has been pretty much a staple. Even in the Bible, the Bible has more to say about agriculture than really it does about salvation. So agriculture really was a big deal all throughout history. Even all of our first presidents, I say our first presidents. We call George Washington our first president. He was but all of them.
Yeah, y'all go look that one up.
Yeah, go look that one up. Most people don't even know that. George Washington was our 14th president. He was the first president of the continental United States. But the United States actually had 14 presidents before him.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. We've never been told that, and I thought somebody was lying, and I went and looked it up, and it actually lists them.
Yeah, it lists them. All of them knew all about agriculture. They knew all about farming. And up until probably the mid or the early 1900s, most of our presidents were dealing with farming and stuff. And today, people think their food just comes from a grocery store. They have no idea. Most people don't know about growing anything.
No, they don't. Another thing is sewing. Back in the day, even when I was little, my mother sewed. Yes. She made clothes. She made all our clothes till after I was in the 2nd, 3rd grade, and then she would start buying some, but she still made our clothes even when I was in high school. I can remember her making things even that far. My little brother only wore homemade clothes until he started school, and Mom felt bad. She said, I'm going to go buy him some blue jeans. He was so skinny that she couldn't hardly find him any blue jeans back then. But they knew how to darn socks, hem dresses,
put buttons on,
fix zippers. All these little things that if you handed a kid 12, 15 years old now, boy or girl, they don't even know how to sew a button on. I guarantee you most 20, 30s, and probably 40-year-olds don't know how to sew a button on.
Right.
But I took home ec in high school, but my mom already sewed. When I took home ec, they're going, you already know how to do this, because I already knew how all of it worked. She made sure we knew how. But did I teach my children? Not really. They learned from their grandmother a little bit. But my oldest daughter makes drapes. She picked up the sewing from my mother. She not really that she got it from her, but that's what she went into. My youngest daughter can help her. She knows how to the whole process. She just doesn't want to do it herself on her own. But nobody knows how to sew hardly anymore. Not to even fix
If you give them a pattern, they wouldn't know how to cut it out or do anything.
And they throw away. You get a hole in something, you pitch it. A button comes off, okay, pitch it.
Yep.
They don't even know how to take a stain out of something. You get a stain on the shirt, what do? You pitch it.
Right.
So the other one was knitting, which follows along with that. Most people knew how to knit or crochet, make something warm for the winter time, because you didn't just go out and buy a jacket or buy a hat or whatever.
Most of it was hats and stuff, and scarves and things like that. And then people had doilies for tables. Now, I personally, y'all may think this is hilarious, but I embroidered.
He did. I've seen it.
When I was a teenager, the way I kept myself calm was I embroidered.
That's after you had your accident?
Yeah, after I had my accident and was tore all to pieces and they had to put me back together, I took up embroidering because all I could do was lay and sit all the time. And I embroidered stuff on the backs of my shirts and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so it's not just for women. Men can do it also.
Mm-hmm. And so that kind of stuff just kind of went out the way. Canning and curing meat. Now, I know there's a homestead movement. People are starting to garden. They're starting to can and cure meat. People have always done that since the beginning of time, I guess. But if you go to the average, just walk into some place and start talking about canning or curing meat, people look like 90% of them will look at you like you're crazy.
Well, the world we live in today, there's been so much weather modification. Now, when my father was a young kid, up until he was a young adult, they cured all their own meat. They smoked all their own meat in smokehouses. They left the meat hanging in the smokehouse for years, even in our heat down here. But back then, we had true winters, true springs, and true falls and true summers. Since we have so much stuff going on in the solar system, weather modification, and 2025 will be the worst you've ever seen. We don't have what they call true winters anymore or true springs. Like yesterday, we were almost 80 degrees. Today, the high was 60. Tomorrow, the high is going to be 50 with sub-freezing temperatures and high wind chills. Sunday will be the same way. Monday will be warm again. And all the way through Christmas, we're going to be in the 70s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we don't have a real winter here anymore.
And ours is like 2 to 3 nights of 32, below 32, according to how the wind's going. If there's a wind blowing like 20 miles per hour, the wind chill takes it down to
the teens.
Maybe 20s. It might get down to the teens. So that's what kills our plants, that 2 or 3 nights.
And we can't cure meat because we can't plan on it. You have to have you have to have man-made refrigeration now to cure meat in the South.
Yeah. Another one is carpentry.
Carpentry skills is one of those things that everybody thinks they can build something, and most people can. Most people have no idea what they're doing. Before the internet come along, if you didn't pick it up by being around people, you was just out of luck. When the internet comes along, you can YouTube anything now, and it will teach you the basic ways. There's a YouTube video out there for everything.
Yeah, all these are on YouTube.
So there's no excuse now for somebody not having some form of carpentry skill.
Or sewing or gardening or curing meat, canning. They're all on YouTube. The other one would be, let's see, where am I at? Mechanicking.
I graduated from college in the 11th. When I was in school, I was in the 11th grade. I graduated from college in the 11th grade, being a mechanic, and come out of there, went straight to work for Star Chevrolet, and actually it was a Chevrolet company here in Wiggins in my 12th year of school. And after that year, they needed a guy in the body work department, so I started doing body work, and I left the mechanicing. Of course, I went into another field that I'm not going to talk about, but mechanicing was really, really big in that field. The military came after me because I was college taught mechanic. And so, I mean, mechanicing is one of those things that now I don't mechanic anymore.
This one of those.
Because, I mean, I had to replace the struts on the front of my four-wheel drive. I went and bought the struts. I told Wanda, I said, I'll just put them on myself. Well, I realized I had to have a special tool to do it, so I called to get the tool. The tool was $100 to rent, and not to buy, but to rent. So I called my friend that runs a mechanic shop. I said, what do you charge me to put these struts on there? He said, probably about $100. So I'm like, it's a no-brainer. You know, I don't have the computers to plug trucks into anymore. And the old-fashioned trucks, hey, I could work on them now. Points, condensers, you know, simple engines, no all this old smog control junk and all that junk. Take that off, I can work on it.
But I mean, even back then, everybody worked on their tractors, their lawnmowers.
Yeah.
If you had a motorcycle, I mean, they knew how to fix a bicycle tire. The average person doesn't even, when their kid's bicycle messes up, they have to figure out what.
If the chain jumps off, they don't even know how to put it back on.
You know, so
most of them too lazy to pedal. They want something that's electric.
It's electric now.
Yeah.
Now the fun ones, penmanship. Do you realize the average person absolutely writes nothing down on an average basis?
I had really good handwriting at one point.
He has crappy now.
But now, I can't even read my own writing now.
But now I get letters from some elderly ladies, my older sometimes, and men. And we got some Christmas cards, and I was smiling looking at them earlier as I was going through them. Some of them have the prettiest handwriting. And I'm talking cursive. They don't even teach cursive anymore.
No, cursive's not taught anymore.
And y'all, I'm sorry I can't see the comments, but I'll go back when this post and I'll look at the comments later because I'm kind of curious. But
now, penmanship is one of the things. My wife that passed away did calligraphy.
Yeah, my oldest daughter did.
I mean,
she loved that.
I don't even understand that, but it is the most beautiful writing that you can do as far as I'm concerned.
And just to simply learn cursive.
Yes.
To me, if it's taught right and a child learns it right, cursive is a beautiful way to write. And like you said, calligraphy takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
Most kids today are barely legible printing.
Printing, yeah.
Yeah. All right, the next one. Okay, I'm totally illiterate in navigation.
Oh, navigation. Yeah, most people, if you give them a compass today,
I'm just talking about anything.
They could not read a compass. I mean, I've been dropped off in places before with nothing but a compass and had to get out. And I mean, and if you don't know how to read a compass, you're just lost. You know, most people, you put them in the dark in the woods at night, they don't even know which way is north. They don't know which way any way is. They're just freaking out. They're panicking.
And you put me on a road and say, all right, make sure you are going north on highway so-and-so. And I'm like, how do I know which way's north? I don't have a clue.
Most people don't know that.
Turn east on highway so-and-so. Don't tell me that.
Well, most people don't know that the even numbers run east and west and the odd numbers run north and south in the United States.
I figured that out a few years ago.
Yeah, most people have no clue about that.
But and I don't use GPS hardly because I don't go anywhere a lot.
No.
But back in the day when I was going places and doing things, I would have to get specific directions. I'd tell somebody, tell me which road to turn on, and I'd say turn right, turn left, go straight. You tell me everything I need to know because I can't navigate. Danny laughs at me all the time. Are you going to turn here? Oh yeah, wait.
I mean, when I first went to work in downtown New York, they took me into downtown New York at 4 o'clock in the morning down in Manhattan. Dropped me out. Well, they didn't drop me off. I parked and I had to go in the guard shack, and I was working on a job. But all the guys I was working with left, and I had to figure my way out of downtown New York back into New Milford, Connecticut, where I was living. And I'm gonna tell you, it took me like 2 or 3 hours to get out of that place. And then I had to go back in there at 5 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah. So navigation without a GPS, most people are lost.
They couldn't read a map. Nobody knows how to read a map anymore.
No. Memorizing. And I know kids do memorize a good bit now. I do realize that. But when you ask a child a question now, they just kind of look at you because they might have memorized it for a test and it went out the window. It didn't stick. And because they can ask a phone a question now and get the answer, they don't see any point in remembering it in their brain.
Well, memorization was really, really good in scripture. Scripture was a way to memorize. One of the better ways to memorize when I was studying Hebrew was to learn to sing it. If you can ever sing something, you can memorize it a lot better. Of course, I had a photographic memory. If I ever read something one time, I usually remembered it. And plus, memorization has to do, too, with the fact if you're interested in what you're looking at.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in it, you're not going to remember anything about it anyway because you're not paying attention.
Yeah. And I don't know, I guess I was just one of those that I love books. So when I was growing up, I was always reading. And even today, if I pick a book up and start reading it, I'm like, oh, I've done read this. It'll come back to my memory, the book, maybe not the whole thing of it, but things of it are familiar. And I remember pieces of it. And I mean, I read probably several thousand books when I was young.
But you can tell me something in 5 minutes, I'll forget it. But if I read it and see it with my eyes, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, and the last thing is kind of funny because we were allowed to be bored. Our parents didn't care if we were bored.
We didn't dare. They would make sure that your fingers was worked to the bone.
Yeah, they would find you something to do.
Yeah.
And when a kid comes to their parents now and go, I'm bored, I want to laugh because the mom goes, okay, we're going to go in a minute and I'll take you to so-and-so's house so you can play. Or we're going to go in a minute and I'll take you by the play yard here or whatever. Or
we'll get your iPad or we'll get you an app for your phone where you can do something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Here, take the phone and go sit down.
Yeah, go play.
And I mean, kids are not allowed to be bored. And when we were little, like Danny, for instance, probably, how old were you when your mom said you were taking apart some motor?
Oh my goodness. Mama has pictures of me at 4 years old out there. My dad run a small engine repair. At 4 years old, I was disassembling small engines. At 12, I was standing at Mississippi State University and in an auditorium before 1,000 people showing them how to disassemble an engine and put it back together. That was at 12 years old.
So, I mean, you were allowed to be bored. You were allowed, because if a child is bored and they need to find their own way to do something, they learn how to do things on their own.
Yeah.
If you always do it for them or you're always keeping them occupied, okay.
Okay, it says, I hope it didn't create a new live.
Okay, are we still going?
I see the chat moving.
All right, so are we okay? All right, it said lots of freezing. It must, I don't know how, I'll check this live because this is the first time I've done it on the phone.
Yeah.
But when we were young, being bored, you learned how to do things. We
were made to work.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, being the oldest, I was the oldest of my family. Wanda was the oldest of her family. And that's where people don't realize if an older person in a family marries a baby in a family, you usually have problems in the marriage. You know, when I was counseling, that was one of the things I would always ask. I'd say, what child were you in the sibling range? Were you first, second, third, only child, whatever? And that usually would help figure out a lot of marriage issues. Because firstborns like me and Wanda, we expect things to just happen. We don't expect anybody to tell us what to do, how to do it. We were always put in a position of authority as a small kid. We were trained and taught to how to do things. When the other siblings come along, especially if you were number 2, 3, 4, or whatever, the parents are usually so tired of raising you up to that point, they're like, just get out of my hair and go do something, you know? Or they look at me and Wanda and go, take care of your brother or your sister.
Yeah.
You know?
So you learn a lot being the eldest. I mean, not saying that the middle children don't.
No, not saying anything's wrong with them.
But the eldest tend to to be bossy, I guess.
Oh, the eldest is always the bossy one.
You're always bossy, and you're usually.
And when you marry unequals, you have marriage problems.
Yeah, if I was to marry, well, technically I did marry the baby of the family to start with, and we did.
Yep.
See?
Yeah, and I married number 3 in the family, and in my first marriage, and I had tons of problems.
And then you turn around and married the baby again.
Then I turned around and married the baby again. Of course, she passed away, but we didn't have no problems, but
yeah.
But it's
third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm bringing that out. All right, guys. We just thought we would play around with this, see how the phone does with the live, what it looks like in here. I've got to find a way to. I've got to have a new stand and all this stuff. But before I put money into anything, I want to know how I can make things work. So
we have 30 days to return this phone, and we just want to make sure if it is worth what it costs.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of spoiled. My last phone had a really, really good camera, and this is supposed to take it up a notch to something even better than my other camera. And I'm hoping that it does. We'll start in a couple of days videoing again. Tomorrow we're not going to be videoing. So I thought we would just do this live for tomorrow's video. And we
got some surprises coming up, though.
Yeah. I hadn't even showed Patreon. Maybe I'll show Patreon.
Maybe you'll show Patreon tomorrow. One of our surprises?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. I kind of like to give patrons a little bit of a heads up on things. And I guess we could do, I guess our giveaways are going to be Saturday night. I'm not even doing a giveaway here tonight because I don't have anything planned. I don't even know if my moderators know I see a moderator. I see something blue. Somebody's there.
Yeah, I can't read it from here. It's like Monkey Food Garden.
Yes. Somebody found us. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I can read a little bit.
I mean, it just I was having trouble seeing it from a distance. But we'll do our giveaways tomorrow night. We're going to be giving away an Alexa Pure Picture. I had somebody send a kid's book. It's the Angels ABCs or something like that. So it would be for kids under 5 learning their ABCs.
A person who has children under 5.
Yeah. So be keeping that in mind for tomorrow night.
Or grandkids.
Yeah. I've got several things. We're giving away the trio, Danny's books, the carrot, the English pea, and sweet potato manual. I think I have some Danny corn that I can give away, at least 1, maybe 2. It's according to what I have left. I'm trying to think. Mr. Mickey from Hills Mill said I can give away some more electroculture rods, so we'll have those.
And guys, if you order electroculture rods, be sure you're going to Hills Mill Homestead to be able to purchase your rods from, because there's people out there that's shafting Mr. Mickey.
They're taking his design.
They're taking his design and selling them for themselves. And Mr. Mickey has found out he's been taken advantage of. So please make sure, I'm only endorsing Mr. Mickey. Anybody else's websites or anything else like that, I am not endorsing.
Yes.
Only Mr. Mickey.
So he's the one that him and Danny.
We kind of started this thing off together, and I'm still with Mr. Mickey and nobody else.
So if you look for Hills Mill Homestead and contact Mr. Mickey, talk to him, you'll be good. I can't remember what else I got. There's some more stuff. So we'll just have a night of giveaways. Hopefully everything will work out okay. And we'll see how this live went. And if it didn't go too good, I may pull it down and we'll do something else for Pecan Grove in a day or 2. Whatever. But we're just testing equipment right now, guys.
Yeah.
So I got to figure out how to shut it down, too, because I have no clue.
Well, I see a red button up at the top. Does that...
That says live.
Okay. What does the black one next to it say?
The time.
Okay.
I guess if I pick it up, wait, let's see. It's got an X in the top. Maybe that's how I get out of it.
I don't know, guys. It's a new phone. What's a learning experience?
Well, I don't go live on the phone. And I'm like Lippy. She goes live on her phone. All right. So if I don't click out, I'm going to try it. I'm going to hit the button that says X. Talk to y'all later if it clicks out. All right, it asked me,